All right, I do want to spend just a few minutes going over some of the course requirements. Won't spend a whole lot of time. I've already sent out the website. So this is the website. You can find a lot of stuff here. First of all, office hours. These more importantly, this shows my class schedule. If I'm not in class, I'm usually in my office between 8 or 7, 6:30 and 3, and you can come by. Even if I'm not in my office hours, drop by if you like. If I'm in my office hours, I'll definitely be there. If I'm not, I'll probably be there, and if you can feel free to drop in. Um, I find that students like they'll begin struggling and then they don't come see me, and then by the time they do come see me, it's kind of too late. So if you ever feel that you're struggling, then please do come see me right away because I can help reverse that. It's a lot easier to do it when it's just starting than if you wait a few weeks. So that's my job, is to help you do well in this class. They pay me lots and lots and lots of money to help you do well in this class. Okay? They pay me a fair salary. But I want to help you do well in this class. I enjoy helping you do well in this class. So if that means that we need to sit in my office for hours on end, then that's what that means. Okay? All right. Syllabus here, it's fairly important. Lots of stuff on here. I'm not going to go over all of it, but I will go over some of it. There's the website, our material. We'll do all of this. Usually we don't do vibrations and waves, but if we have time in the end, we might come back to it. This is an important part, the testing. So we have 4 exams and a final. Our 4 exams are the dates listed here. You can find this on the website. You can find it, the website's on the Moodle page. These are our 4 exam dates. There's our final date. This is a calendar just to help you plan out your schedule. The exam dates are light gray. Drop day is here. It's dark gray. Notice you have 3 exams before drop day. So when drop day comes around, you will know how you stand in this class. You'll pretty much know the grade that you're going to get. And so we'll deal with that when that comes to it. And then the holidays are listed as well. The colors don't come through very well, but the dates are on there. There is homework for each chapter. That homework is on the website, but it's also in your workbook. Has anybody gotten the workbook yet? No. Did some of y'all order it? Yeah, it just hasn't come in yet, has it? Okay, that's why I told y'all early on. That's okay. Uh, the workbook has notes. Let me ask you yours, Heather. Heather has an old one. Um, it has notes from the class. It also has the homework in it. So this will really help you sort of keep track of what we're doing in the class. It has old exams in it. It has clicker questions that we'll do in class in it. It'll really help you to have it. It'll save you a lot of time as we're going through the class. I don't take up homework, but your exams are heavily related to the homework. So knowing and doing the homework will really help you in the exams. You have clickers. Most of you have them. I think practically all of you have them. We will be doing in-class multiple choice questions. Some of your classes might do this already. Most of you already had clickers, right? I think practically all of you already had clickers because it's required by your departments. So we'll have questions that we'll ask in class, and those clicker questions are worth up to 50 points. The way I calculate, we'll take a bunch of questions during the semester. Is sort of each question is worth sort of an indefinite value. It changes based on the number of questions. But at the end of the semester, the way I calculate how much each question is worth is I say, okay, if I have a student that answered all of the questions but only got half of them right, then I want that student to have a perfect score. So that's sort of what you're aiming for, answering all of the questions but only get half of them right. But don't really get just half of them right. I mean, most of them you're going to get right. And every question you get right is worth twice the amount if you don't get it right. You follow what I'm saying? Like, so for example, if I find out that the questions are worth 0.12 points each, which is sort of typical, then that means that if you get it wrong, you get 0.12 points. If you get it right, you get what? 0.24 points. That's right. So that's the way I calculate that. At the end of the semester, most of you will have that full 50 points. Those of you that don't come to class, because I know that a handful of you will just sort of drop out of the class, stop coming, because it's a 7:30 class, but I'm warning you that those students that stop coming, you don't do very well. You're looking at C's, D's, or below, okay? Not because I don't like you or anything. It's just that's typically how the tests come out, okay? All right. Um, Here's the grading, just a summary of that. I'll let you look up over that yourself. Makeup policy. If you miss an exam and it's unexcused, I deduct 15 points from your exam grade, and then 3 points for every day that you don't contact me. So come on the exam dates. You have the dates right away. If you have some university-sponsored event, or you're ill with a doctor's excuse or something along those lines, then we'll talk about making it up. Or if you have some event that you have to go to, like a sporting event or whatever, then talk to me and we'll get you a makeup scheduled, usually beforehand. Right. Okay, there's drop date, clickers. Is that drop date right? I'm sorry, that drop date is not correct. It's actually the 28th. I'll change that. Any questions about the syllabus, Joe? Okay. Uh, there's an addendum here, talks about emergencies. If we have a hurricane or whatever, we'll try to continue the class online as much as possible, but with understanding that you might not have internet, you might not have a home, in fact. Um, here's advice from previous students that made an A in this class. In short, what they do is they come to class, they work the homework, they work the old exams, and they studied the clicker questions. I give you those at the end of each section. Okay? I recommend that you spend 20 minutes every day. And that's really the best way in general to study for your classes is every evening you set aside 20 to 30 minutes for every class that you're taking. Then you spend time reviewing notes or working through the homework or working through the old exams or whatever it is that you're doing in that class. And then when it comes to exam time, you're not cramming. But I know that's a hard habit to beat. If you want honors credit, some honors students in here, I'm sure, you can petition this class for honors credit. I have some ideas here. You can take a look at that. This is just an Excel spreadsheet. You can calculate your grade. This is the workbook. You can order it on Lulu. I understand they are getting some in the bookstore as well. Uh, sorry, there was some miscommunication there. These are going to be our clicker questions that we'll have in class that you'll be able to download with the answers after we cover them in class. They're not there now, but they will be. This is an equation sheet that you'll get after chapter 5. There aren't that many equations in chapters 1 through 4. They're like 4 equations, so I just expect you to memorize those. For exams, you can see every exam that I've ever given along with video solutions. So for example, this was exam 1 from last year. Notice there are some multiple choice that and there are free questions as well. Right. I recommend that you take those, print them out. Some of them are in your workbook from last semester or last fall. Work them out on your own as we go through the material in class, and then go back. There are solutions to each of the exams online. It's just me working through them. Oop. Just me working through the exams and giving the solution. That can be a very useful resource to help you prepare for the exams, to see the old exams. But I write new exams every semester, so don't think that you'll see the same questions that you saw in the old exams. You'll see similar questions, certainly, but you won't see the same questions. Okay, is that clear? What are y'all going to do to make an A in this class? I'd say 4 things. What's the first thing? Come to class. Study what? Oh, yeah. So, yeah, that wasn't one of the 4, but yeah, that's a good 20 minutes a day. Do the homework, old exams, practice, 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 and then the clicker questions too. Okay. Can't make an A in this class. It is doable. It takes a little bit of work, but you can do it. Every one of you can do it. Y'all right? You know that, right? Yes. Okay. Um, we'll have help sessions periodically. I'll put them here. They'll just be screencasts, us working through the help sessions. And then also I record all the classes here. And so you can go and if you missed today's class, which obviously you didn't because you're here, but if you missed today's class, you can go back and just watch the entirety of it. Okay? Be careful of that. Don't let yourself think that it's going to be a substitute because I find that when a student really spends 3 hours a week sitting down thinking about the material, that impacts how they do in the class. Okay? All right. I think that's everything on that website. There are some online textbooks over here that are free and are pretty good books that can help you. If you want a textbook, give it a week or so. I have some I can let you borrow if you like, some calculus-based textbooks. Any questions, people? Yeah. The workbook, the one I sent the link out about? No, no, there's no textbook. There is the workbook, which is the notes. I used to require a textbook, and they're like 150 bucks. And when I talk to students, I'd have 3 or 4 that would actually use it, except for looking at the homework problems. And so I stopped requiring it years ago. But if you're a textbook kind of person, look, I'm a textbook kind of person. I learn from a textbook. Then come see me. The publishers give me all sorts of textbooks, and I'll give you one. They're all the same. They all cover the same material. So if you want to borrow one from me, then you may do so. Just come see me. I'll lend you one. Okay. What we're gonna do now is I like to learn all of your names, so I'm gonna take pictures of all of you. Okay. So the way this is gonna work, first of all, I'm gonna hand out a sheet of paper to each of you, and while you're sitting and waiting and watching all the people get their mugshots taken, I want you to just write your name, let's say your hometown, and I don't know, an interesting fact. Something about yourself that is interesting, or maybe not that interesting, but just something about yourself that you would like for me to know. So I'm gonna hand these out. Look, I'm just gonna sort of hand them here, and y'all sort of plinko them out. You ever seen plinko on The Price is Right? Boop, boop, boop. They just sort of fan out from you. Okay, so spread them out. Just hand them back. Make sure everybody gets one as they go back. Okay, so I need these 5 people to come on up. And what you're going to do, Hillary, you're going to come and stand under your name, and you're going to look like you were a burglar or something, okay? Everybody come and stand underneath your name. Yeah, so if come up and stand underneath your name. Okay, good. Thank you, Alyssa. Everybody, all these 5 people. So that's Hillary, Zane, Alyssa, Paige, and Alexandra. Listen, if you really have a problem with me taking your picture, that's fine. Just don't come up or whatever. But these don't go on the internet. I print them out. They go on paper. I have a Facebook in my office. It's a literal Facebook with pictures of people in it. And that's as far as they ever go. All right? All right, so 1, 2, 3. All right, thank you. And Hillary, can you help me? You don't have to do the little sheet if you don't want. So just hit the right arrow each time I tell you. Just hit this arrow. And it'll go to the next one. All right. Oh, are there any extra sheets around? Please pass them up. If anybody else need one? I need these people: Kyle, Tyler, Mark, Connor, and Frankie. Connor? There's Connor. All right, 1, 2, 3. You don't really have to look like a criminal. Like you can smile or whatever it is. All right, Hillary. Next one, please. Elena, Brennan, Curall, Doyle, Brandon, and Mackenzie. Mackenzie, Brennan, Curall. Right. Doyle, Doyle, and Brandon, and Elena. Or do you go by anything else? Is it Elena? Okay. All right. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Brennan, go. Jake, Tamara, Chandler, and No, you just do that while you're sitting at your. You're Jake, Jesse, Tamara, Chandler, Brennan. All right. All right. Listen, don't talk to the people that are in the lineup. All right. You ready? One, two, three. Awesome. Matthew Loker, Juana, Catherine, Sadie, and Heather. Catherine, what does your mother call you? Does she call you Catherine? Okay. All right, Matthew, Juana, Catherine, Sadie, and Heather. All right, y'all ready? One, two, three. Awesome. Lazarus, Mason, Asia, Cyrus, and Jean. Playing football this year, Lazarus? Awesome. All right, y'all ready? Cyrus, Jean, Asia, and Mason. All right, one, two, three. All right, Charity, Emma, Ashley, Dustin, and Nicole. Emma, Nicole, Dustin, Ashley, Charity. All right, y'all ready? Here we go. One, two, three. Thank you, folks. Mariah, Joshua, Grace, and then Kim Knight. You added later, so that's why you're at the end. Anybody that was not on my list here, because that means you're not enrolled in the course. That's my knowledge. Everybody was on the list. Is Kim here? You're Grace. Kim Knight. Kim. Okay, awesome. Yeah, you just added, right? Okay, good. All right, here we go. One, two, three. Wait, don't leave just yet. Josh, you go by Josh or Joshua? Josh. I'll try to get that. Mariah, Grace, and Kim. Awesome. Thank you, Hillary. All right. Are y'all done with your papers? You are, go ahead and hand them up to me, or rather, if y'all want to hand them to me, page. Oh, any papers? Awesome. Got them okay? They have some up there. Those are blank, awesome. Isle of Roatan. Where is that? Okay, cool. All right. Um, Anybody else have one? If you're still working on it, you can just hand it to me after class. All right, so we're going to start. What we're starting with is pretty simple for the most part, um, on the standards of length, mass, and time, and we'll do some review of calculus. We'll do derivatives and integrals, which might not be a review for you because most of you are in calculus right now. Is that right? Raise your hand if you're in calculus. Oh yeah, whoop, raise the roof if you're in calculus. Okay, we'll do some basic derivatives and integrals. Listen, we're going to use Calc 1 through 3 in all this class. but not really in the same depth as you will in your calculus class. I'll show you exactly what you need. I'll show you how to do derivatives and integrals, and I'll show you how to do cross products and dot products and all that jazz. So if you're just in calculus, don't be alarmed if you don't know what I'm talking about, because I will show you what we need to do the problems that we'll do. And again, with the workbook is this page. So when you get that, it might be a little hard to keep up, and if I'm going too fast, please let me know in the first few days. But when you get the workbook, it'll go a lot faster in class because you'll have sort of the skeleton notes. You follow what I'm saying? Okay. Um, so for standards of length, mass, and time, in order to make a measurement, you have to have a standard. It doesn't really make sense to make a measurement without a standard because, how do you define what that measurement is? And so we have standards for length, mass, and time. We have some other standards like for charge and brightness, but we won't get into those until next semester. For length, the current unit of measurement, does anybody know what the current standard or the current unit for measurement of length? It's the meter, right. This is all part of the SI system. SI stands for system, or it's French. Système, I think there's an accent or something. International. And I'll just put an E at the end. I don't know if it's the International System of Measurements, the SI system. And in particular, we're using the MKS system, the MKS system. M is for meter. That's the first unit of measurement that we have. The standard for the meter has changed over time. You need to know a little bit about how it's changed. Like, so for example, in 1799, the standard was 1/10,000,000th the distance from the equator to the North Pole. It's 1/10,000,000th the distance from the equator to the North Pole. Uh, until 1960, the measurement was the length of a particular bar. In France, happen to be in France. That's where the SI system is sort of housed, if you will say, if you'll sort of think of it in that way, that's where its base is. So we have this bar. It's a meter long. This is a meter stick. It's a little more than 3 feet. It's a meter stick. You need to know roughly what a meter is. It's about the length of your arm or so. It's about 3 feet long. Okay. And until 1960, they had a bar in France that was a meter long. And we'll talk about in just a little bit about what makes a standard a good standard. And both of these, or neither of these, are good standards. And I'll give you some reasons why that is in just a bit. Now, we have a more modern standard, and it's based on the speed of light. It's the distance that light travels. In a certain amount of time. The time is 1/3 times 10 to the 8th seconds. You don't need to know that number particularly, but you do need to know that the standard for the meter is based on the speed of light. It's really easy to measure the speed of light. It's very accurate to measure the speed of light. And frankly, anybody can measure the speed of light. It's a simple undergraduate experiment. All you need is a mirror on a rotating motor, and you can measure the speed of light very accurately. And if you can measure the speed of light, then you know what a meter is. So this is a great standard because it's accurate, it is accessible to everyone, and it also turns out that it's unchanging. But more about that in just a bit. I'll write that down in just a bit. Okay, the current unit of the current unit of measurement for mass. We'll go back up here to our MKS system. Mass is going to be our K. So what is the current unit of measurement for mass? What? Kilogram, right. It's a kilogram. The standard for this is a particular cylinder in France. So this should make you think of what used to be the standard for the length. That used to be they had a bar, they had a cylinder. Hey, this is a meter, this is a kilogram. A kilogram is about 2 pounds, a little more than 2 pounds. This is a kilogram. I think it's like 2¼ pounds or so. I'll pass it around. You need to have a good feel for what a kilogram is, but most of you know pounds. It's a little more than 2 pounds. Typical guy weighs 70, 80 kilograms. Hey, did y'all see the world record in weightlifting? Do y'all remember what he lifted? It was 215 kilograms. That was like I think it was 215. Am I right about that? Right. Yeah, so about over 400 pounds. It's 215 kilograms what they measure it in. This is a kilogram. Anybody lift 215 kilograms? Anybody? Lazarus might be the one closest. Can you lift 215 kilograms? 400 pounds. Are you serious? Like no, not a squat. He did, what's that called? A deadlift or whatever? 400 pounds. Wow. Okay, anyway, here we go. Y'all can pass this around. We'll do some estimates, and you'll need to know what a kilogram is. So typical guy is what in kilograms? What's his mass in kilograms? 70, 80 kilograms. That'd be about 170 or so, 150 to 170 pounds. All right. The kilogram has a problem in that the kilogram is losing mass. And so in the kilogram, we find this standard that's just not really ideal. What we need to make a standard ideal are a few things. I'm going to write it down, but I'll write it down again in just a bit. We need it to be accurate. We need it to be unchanging. And we need it to be accessible. Now, if we have a particular cylinder in France, which of these is it going to mess up on? It is accurate, right? We have a cylinder, we can accurately measure its mass. So it's accurate to say that to have this cylinder in France. Is it unchanging, this cylinder in France? It's not actually, because it's losing mass. People don't really know why, but they have this cylinder and the mass is changing. Atoms are jumping off or they're jumping onto this cylinder, even though they try to keep it in a very controlled environment. All right, so it's not unchanging. And if we have a particular cylinder in France, then it's not really accessible either. Now, they make copies of this cylinder and they move it out all around the world, but this standard kilogram is not ideal because it changes and it's not really accessible because it changes and it's not really accessible. They're trying to come up with a new standard. Can I go down from here? Give you out a second. Okay, I'm going down. My protest. See, let's watch a little video. Did you ever watch Veritasium on the YouTube channel? It's a great YouTube channel, Veritasium with Derek Muller. Isn't that a great YouTube channel? I like their stuff. We'll watch a bit of it here in class. Let me pull it up right quick. Okay, so the point there is that this standard is changing over time. It's not accessible to everyone, and it just doesn't make a good standard because, as he said, you can't have a standard that changes over time. All right, let's look at the time standard, and we'll wrap this up. We have about 5 minutes left. Just a little bit about me. I don't let students out early, if rarely do I let you out early, so don't expect to get out at 8:20. We go to 8:25, I think, right? 8:25. Yeah. If we get to the point at the end of the semester we've covered everything, then I'll just give you a day off. And in fact, we probably will have a day off sometime this semester out of various meetings I go to, but I'll let you know well in advance. But I figure you're up, 7:30? Might as well just keep you here the whole time, right? Y'all agree? Yeah, awesome. Pay good money to be here. All right, so the current unit of measurement for time is the second. That's right. That's the MKS is the second. The standard used to be based on the fraction of a solar day. That's not a very good standard because, well, frankly, it's not accurate. You can't get accuracies to the values that we need for measuring time for communications or other applications that we use for time. And so now the second is defined on the frequency of a cesium atom. It is actually 9 billion times the period of an oscillating cesium atom. I suspect you geomatics guys, folks, that you study this, that you have this cesium atom, it oscillates back and forth. When it oscillates 9 billion times, or roughly 9 billion times, that's 1 second. That's how we define our standard for the second. So it's important to have accurate standards of measure because we base all measurements on these standards. And if we don't have a standard that is accurate, that is unchanging, and that is accessible, then we really have no means of measuring things in a consistent way. We'll go back to the medieval times when you measure things by a foot or a hand or whatever, and that changes with measurements. And so as we collaborate with other scientists, as we collaborate with other engineers, you have to have a consistent and a reliable standard of measurement. And then the qualities of a good standard, let me just reiterate them here. It has to be unchanging. It has to be accurate. And it has to be, gosh, what was the other one? Accessible, right. I always forget them. All right, let's try this little quick test. So as we go through this class, we'll have questions that are clicker questions like this. These are taken from old tests, the multiple choice parts of the test. We'll also have old questions that are from the free response that you'll just work out on your own during class as practice. As we cover that material, then you'll answer the questions that come along. So let's try this one. Which of these is a reason that a standard of measurement is not appropriate? You have 4 options. You can choose or mix and match those options. For these clicker questions, feel free to ask your neighbor. If you want to ask your neighbor what they put, that's perfectly okay. In fact, I encourage it. If you haven't registered your clicker, just go ahead and use it. When you do register it, it will post-date your answers. All right, I'll stop at 55 seconds. Just guess if you don't know. Remember, you do get some credit if you guess or ask your neighbor. Okay, E is the right answer. Looks like some of you put C as well. C was 1 and 3. Oh no, I'm sorry. Which of these reasons a standard measurement is not appropriate? Oh no, yeah, E is right. 1 and 2. If the standard changes, it's not appropriate. If it's not available to everyone, then it's also not appropriate. It doesn't matter if it's based on some obscure physical constant, like the mass of a silicon atom or the frequency of a cesium atom. That doesn't matter. It also doesn't matter if it smells bad. But I don't think any of the standards smell bad. Okay, I think we have one more question. I think we can squeeze it in. Oh no, we'll do the metric prefixes. What time is it? Oh no, we're done. Y'all have a great day, okay? Let me know if you have any questions. I'll see you on Wednesday.